Good day, everyone. You are welcome to our channel once again. Today, we are going to be looking at multiplication and division of surds. This is in continuation of what we have started earlier. Please, if you are just joining this channel, please kindly go back to our previous video so that you can see the videos that we have posted before, so that you can have the view and understanding on how far we have gone regarding this particular topic. All right, without wasting much of our time, we'll be looking at how do we multiply and how do we divide surds whenever we are given one. Whenever there is a problem regarding multiplication and division of surd, how do we actually solve that problem? So we are going to be looking at a series of problems today. We are going to be seeing first and foremost, I want us to look at a question like this. This is a multiplication of surds, and basically what we need to do, just like what we have been doing earlier, is just to look at the surd that is being presented before us and see whether they're already in their basic form or not. So the first thing to do for you to be able to simplify accordingly, you will do yourself good to look at the surd and see whether they are in their basic form or whether they are not. All right, then another thing I want to also point out to us is that just like in our previous videos, we've been able to see that we have rules that is guiding us when it comes to the operations with surds. All right, so without wasting much of our time, I want to quickly just do a refresher course on this particular rule. In the previous video, we term it as rule 1, which simply says that if you have the root PQ, if two numbers are multiplying each other and they are under a particular root umbrella, so we say that we can actually split them into something like this. So two things multiplying each other can be split into individual root forms. All right, so just like what we have in the question given, for example, we have root 45 is being multiplied by root 28. All right, so if I want to apply the law to this, it can easily be done. I can also combine them and say the same thing as saying 45 multiplied by 28 under the same rule. You see, you can make it this way. Now, the reason why I will not want us to go this way, actually, is going to give us a very big number to deal with. So what I will advise is we look at them individually, just like we have root 45. Then just like our initial methodology we used to apply, we simply check, can I get a factor from this such that that factor, one of it will be a perfect square and the other will not. So obviously this can be seen that 9 times 5 is equals to 45. All right, so we can see I'm able to get one that is a perfect square. It's going to give me a perfect square root, and I'm able to see one which is not. All right, this is what I'm actually looking for. If you do this, the rule also says the same thing as saying root 9 multiplied by root 5. All right, if this is done, then we are going to have 3 multiplied by root 5, which is going to give us 3 root 5. All right, so this basically is the basic form of root 45. All right, so the next thing we also need to do is to look at the root 28. We also have root 28. So we check what are the factors that can come out of here, just like what I normally advise us to do. Let's bring out a calculator now. I told us that one of the easiest way to actually develop oneself excuse me, is to be dividing this number by numbers that are perfect squares. For example, 28 divided by 4 is giving me 7, okay, which is good. All right, because 7 happens to be a number that is not a perfect square. All right, so meaning I can actually say that root 28 is the same thing as saying 4 multiplied by 7. All right, so which is the same thing as saying root 4 multiplied by root 7. Now, if this is done, we are going to have 2 root 7. All right, but the examiner actually says we should multiply them. So let's bring them together. So we have 3 root 5 is being multiplied to 2 root 7 now. All right, so what do we need to do? These coefficients of the root forms will multiply each other, and also the roots will also multiply each other. So this is how you do it. You make sure the coefficient of the root form, when I mean root form, I mean something like this. It may be root 3, it may be root 5. So this is the root form. This is what I'm referring to as the root form. So you check the coefficient. Whatever is in front, okay, they are going to multiply one another. So in other words, I'm having 3 multiplied by 2 separate, and also I'm having root 5 multiplied by root 7. Okay, now if this is done properly, you are going to see 6 into 5 times 7 is going to give us 35. So it's going to be 35. All right, so now if you look at this 35, you now check, is this surd in its basic form? If yes, then that's the answer. If no, then you have to simplify further. All right, in this case, I'm having 35. So what are the factors of 35? Of course, I can see 5, very obvious. Okay, let's also pull out a calculator and just let me show you something. You see, if you want to do this particular problem, if I say 35 divided by 5, you see, it's giving me 7. So that means 7 is also a factor. So obviously, the two factors that we are having here is 5 and 7, and none of these factors is a perfect square. You see, so none of them will give us a perfect square. So I think this is okay. We are able to see that root 35 cannot be broken down further into two factors in such a way that one of these factors will be a perfect square. I believe we understand this particular problem. Let's look at another one that may also put more light into what we are sharing about division and multiplication of surds. All right, so this is another question. This one is actually a division question. Somebody may say that, oh, this is beautiful. Why can't just, I can easily just go about it. Yeah, it's actually beautiful and much easy. All right, so obviously we can see from 24 that what can I multiply, just like what we have just finished doing, is similar to that. So it's actually 7 times 4, which will give us 24. Then divided by this, of course, is going to give us 25 times 2. So these surds, if I express them like this, my target is to express them, to take them to their to their basic forms. All right, so if this is properly done, we are going to have root 7 multiplied by root 4 divided, applying the rule of multiplication. Now this is root 25 multiplied by root 2. All right, if this is done, then we are going to have 2 root 7 being divided by 5 root 2. Okay, now this is what we are having. Now somebody will say that, what can I do? Can I say divide these two? And no, you see, they are not similar. You only divide surds that are similar. That's number one. You see, that are like terms. That's in terms of the division. They must be in their like terms. So they are not like terms. 2 and root 2 are not like terms. So you can't just divide it like that. So another way you can do, maybe something you can actually bring up, you can have those that are coefficients separate, and those that are roots, you can also bring them separate. Okay, and if you remember our rule in division rule, we say that if you have P over root Q is the same thing as saying the square root of P divided by that of Q. So if we want to make it a little bit, maybe we just want to play with this. If you want to play with this, so it's just going to give you root 7 over 2. So you can leave it like this. You see, you can have something like this just to play with the rules. So, but you can't divide these two and this. No, that would be very wrong. All right, I believe we are getting this. So primarily there is nothing more we can do to this. So we are going to leave our answer as 2 root 7 divided by 5 root 2. And this is going to be our final answer. Why? Because we've been able to express each of them in their basic forms, which is what the examiner will actually reward us for. All right, so I believe we are understanding this. We're also going to be looking at more questions. Please, if you have any question, kindly drop in the comment section. As we go further, I want you to also understand that sword is not difficult at all. Once you understand the principle and the rules guiding it, you see that it's something very easy for you to crack. All right, please please subscribe to our channel, like and share, even as we bring to you worthwhile videos that you are going to enjoy. All right, so let's go to the next question before we wrap up this particular session. All right, so this is the next question, question 3. The examiner simply asks us to simplify root 60 multiplied by root 180 divided by root 75. Okay, so without wasting much of our time, let's just get down to this. With the idea I've been telling us, I simply told us that it's very important for us to take them to their basic form. When you go that way, you make it a little bit easier, for us to be able to solve, other than multiplying and trying to divide and finding factors. When you can take each of them, look at them as single entities, and then you begin to take each of them to their basic form. This is going to help you a lot if you can follow that method, especially for those of us that are starters. It's something you take gradually. Then as you keep on solving more problems, then you'll be gaining mastery. Then you'll be having much understanding on how you can actually solve the problem. Some people can just multiply it and divide with their calculator and just find factors that they can use. They know how to go around it, but for the sake of even the examiner that is going to award marks, it's always good for us to show our workings clearly. And also, when you are solving mathematics, you see, one of the ways you earn good marks is you solve as if you are teaching the teacher. Whenever you are solving mathematics and you are solving it as if the teacher is learning from you, when you jump steps, the teacher will get confused. Okay, so wherever you are teaching and you are not showing it step by step, the person will get confused and say, I don't understand what you are doing. Now, it means that you have not been presenting your work properly. So one of the ways to actually have a good mark is by having the assumption that you are teaching the examiner, so that whenever he or she is awarding marks, you see all your steps are intact and is able to see every of your workings clearly. That is something that I want us to always put in mind whenever we are solving mathematics like this. Don't make it too complex for yourself. Try as much as possible to approach it in a simpler way as possible as you can. And I think that will go a long way in helping us to gain mastery regarding this particular, in fact, in mathematics generally. All right, so what do? We look at 60. Of course, 60, if you divide it by 4, is going to give you 15. So I told you the basic thing you do is to try as much as possible to take every sword to its basic form. Every sword must be in its basic form. When you are able to convert sword to their basic forms, then you will discover that you make the work easier. And this is a must. That's the end result of our simplification in swords, that a particular sword should be in its basic form. All right, so how do I do that? How do you take a number to its basic form of a particular sword? You simply divide them by perfect squares. We have 4, we have 9, you see, we have we have 4, we have 9, we have 25, you see, we have 16, so you can be going on and on like that. We have 36, we also have 49, and so on and so forth. We have 64. You'll be dividing that number with perfect squares like this, so that you'll be able to have, because the target is to have two factors, such that one of them should be a perfect square, and then the other will be a factor that is not a perfect square. Just like in the case of 15, now 15 will not have any factor that is a perfect square, so which is good to go. All right, so when we do this, when we apply the law to it, the law of the multiplication rule, we are going to have it to be this way, so which is going to give us 2 root 15. All right, this is 2 root 15. Then we also have root 180. Root 180, of course, you can be going gradually. This is 9 times 2 is 18, then times 10. You see, can be cracking it gradually. This is same thing as also, then you watch it very carefully. This is same thing as saying 9 times 20. Okay, if you look at it again, I can see that I can still see another perfect square here, because this is 4 times 5. All right, then now I can see that this 5, which is the last one, cannot have any factor any longer that will be a perfect square. So what do? I split them. This is 9 multiplied by root 4, then multiply by root 5. So when this is done properly, you are going to have 3 multiplied by 2 multiplied by root 5. So when you do this, you are going to have 2 times 3, which is 6, then root 5. So this is the basic form for root 180. All right, so we are left with root 75, which is another one we have to convert to its basic form. Obviously, root 75 is 25 times 3. So you see, the more you solve this, the more you will have the idea. So one is a perfect square, one is not. That's good. All right, so we have root 25 being multiplied to root 3. When you do this, you are going to have 5 root 3. Okay, so this is what we have. All right, so what do we do next? We now combine it the way the examiner have presented it. We have root 60. Our root 60 now is 2 root 15 multiplied by our root 180, which is 6 root 5, divided by our 75, which is 5 root 3. All right. So what do? We simply look at what we can do. Okay, because this is multiplication, so you can play around it. You can just play around it. So this constant will multiply each other, then the root also will multiply each other. That's one way. Another way I can look at it, I can also combine and join this and this together, and also leave this one alone, or join this and this, depending on how you want to look at it. What is what I'm saying? I can also say that this particular one is 2 root 15 divided by 5 root 3, because I can see something that is common there, then multiply by 6 root 5 over 1. You see, I can make it this way, and this is going to give me 2 over 5. Then I can combine 15 and 3 based on the rule, then multiply by 6 root 5. Okay, this and this, they work. It's going to give me 5. Okay, so I'm going to have 2 over 5 root 5 is being multiplied by 6 root 5. Can you see? This is another way you can handle it. There's something I wanted to do here before, but I think let's just go with this. Let's go with this approach. Okay, so once this is done, this 2 over 5 is still going to multiply 6, and 5 and root 5 and root 5 is also going to multiply one another. So that implies, let's just come down here, we have 2 over 5 multiplied by 6. Okay, then we also have root 5 multiplied by root 5. Okay, if this is done properly, you are going to have, this is 12 over 5. Okay, now root 5 multiplied by root 5, of course, is going to give us root 25. Are we following? All right, so and root 25 is going to be 12 over 5 times 5, because square root of 25 is 5. All right, so 5, we also cancel 5 here, and we'll be left with 12. Okay, so you see, finally our answer, so finally we are going to have our answer to be equals to 12. You see, 12 is eventually, this whole thing, this very thing actually ended up to be equals to 12. You see, when you simplify properly and you go in an approach that is not very difficult, there are also ways you can handle this, but I believe this is a little bit simple for us to be able to do. especially when you are familiar with the laws. You see, so from here we saw this. I want you to just pause the video and watch the steps properly once again, so that you can see how this is being done. I believe that by the time you watch it over and over again, you are going to get your understanding and you gain mastery as you ought to have it. So thanks for watching this video. This is going to be the last we are going to do on multiplication and division. So by God's grace, we're also going to be looking at surd rationalization. How do we rationalize surds? That's going to be another video we'll be doing on this channel. Please stay tuned, subscribe, share, and like accordingly. God bless you as you do that. As you are doing that, you are encouraging us. Please, any area that you feel we can make improvement, please, it's also acceptable. Please kindly just make it in the comment section so that we can serve you better. Thanks for watching. See you in our next video.